this person wants to address something that we were talking about earlier. So let's go ahead and get, is this Spicoli, him from Florida? Spicoli?
Hey, how's it going?
Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Oh, good, good. Because apparently I'm on a trend of not saying names right today. So I just want to make sure I got it.
No, well, you got it right. I talked to you and Martin, I think, a bit back when he was filling in.
Very nice. Well,
and it's funny because the topic then was vaccine hesitancy.
It's going to be a hot button for a long time. But today you wanted to talk about something a little different.
Totally. And it's funny because we've gone on a couple tangents there. It was I want to say it was about American egocentrism is what you had, was the phrase you used, and tied into something that Keelah was saying there about, how people are so apt to believe conspiracies and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of I think that's the tangent that it was, or that they're kind of what it was about. Sure.
What did you have to say about it?
I mean, they teach that stuff in schools. Like mine was my phrase for it is American exceptionalism. And it's like, it kind of, it's that, hero worship of the home country, it's basically nationalism, disguised with a nicer phrase, a nicer term to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like part of that has to be owning up to your mistakes. I mean, you can love a country very much and you can love a partner very much and still realize their shortcomings and realize, where things went wrong in the past and know that you're on a trajectory to hopefully try to find ways to correct it. Hopefully. I don't know. You're right. Yeah, please.
Can I just ask, are you against, I don't like egocentrism, USC egocentrism, but it's an interesting term. Are you against Americans being kind of centric about their own country and not understanding what's going on in the rest of the world, or what's your thoughts?
I think that's a slippery slope. It's like,
it is.
Of course, I have zero issue with people loving where they were born, and it's like I root for Team USA to kick Ireland's butt every time the U.S.
and you don't
plays,
and you don't,
and the women's national team. I love,
and you don't.
Come on, So
tribalism is alive and well.
But when it becomes like a issue or a toxic thing is when people use it to justify or just use it as a means to an end, if you will, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for my country at the moment, we are going through this transitionary period in the last 10, 20 years where we've had to face up to the reality that we were for a long time, for the majority of our history, in the last 100 years, we were a very bad country. We treated people very, very badly. And only now are we starting to see regressions for that and reparations for that. We're only starting to open up to the fact that we allowed things to happen that should never have happened. And I mean, the problem with it is nobody wants to admit that they're wrong. They know they're wrong, but nobody wants to dwell on it. And nobody knows how to actually process it because we've never been taught how to process these things, especially great works of evil that we ourselves were never involved in. It was our ancestors or whatever. And so the conversation then becomes is how do we have these conversations? How do we process this information? Because a lot of what I'm seeing coming out of the US is either super I love my country or they're trying to make me hate my country because of what happened 100, 200, 300 years ago, or we should absolutely be ashamed. And that's not what anyone is looking for. It's just trying to work together and to admit some of the faults and then to move on together. And how do we do that? That's a very complex question, though.
Spicoli, what you got?
Do I need to? Are you from Northern Ireland or is that? Do I need to is that a clarification that I messed up there?
No, I'm a dub. I'm from Dublin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm with you there 100%. That kind of, you know, ties into Puck's joke about Patriot games earlier. You know, it's like there's been indiscretions on both sides they're awful, and that, you know, and when it becomes ugly here, and like what you see is that, you know, rah, rah, rah. And it's like, I was in the JROTC and through like late middle school through high school. And so it was all about, you know, getting out there and being in your uniform and saying your pledge and,
yep,
and, you know, doing your thing. So, and putting on the, you know, but it's like, a lot of my contemporaries, you know, are just they're still stuck in that. And I hate to use an ugly word like brainwash, because that's probably not the right word for it. But it's like, they have been so enamored by that it's like, it just never, you know, dawns on them to look at the reality that they're actually facing and what is happening in the real world.
I mean, part of that is because the real world, or what's beyond your borders, doesn't really affect you from day to day. And we see it here all the time when it comes to European votes. Nobody goes out to vote for European votes. It's an inside joke in Ireland. You don't vote in an EU election, or whatever. So like, part of it is because they're so grounded in their day-to-day lives that they don't actually. Either it's too big for them to contemplate, like, I'm here, I can only do so much, or they just don't really, it doesn't have an impact, or they don't see it having an impact. It's the same thing with elections in general, but they don't see it having an impact on their daily life. And so to be able to reduce something that's happening in Ireland, let's say, as I said, the abortion campaign or the fight for same-sex marriage, to be able to translate that down to, well, why should I care about what's happening over there? Because it's so far away, and because America is so vast and huge, it can get to that point where I can only focus on my little patch, and that's what I've been told to worry about. And if I do that and I keep my head down, I'll be okay, because you can't actually grasp what's going on beyond that.
Well, it's crazy because it's like, we're dealing with just those very issues here. It's like Texas just passed a major hit on abortion rights, and it's like, I feel like that this court, the way that it's being stacked, is going to take up Roe v. Wade again. Like, that is the path that they are plotting for themselves, is because Florida, my state, with our Governor DeSantis, is following suit with heartbeat bills and things of that nature. So we're regressing, you know, we're regressing in general here, at least in my, you know, it's like, I don't know how it's going in the freaking blue states, but it's not going good here. And, you know, Florida, all I could say is I've seen more Let's Go Brandon shirts than anything lately. It's like, it makes me want to cry. But
I mean, the big thing is to leave yourself open to the conversations, to try and because, well, you've been through it, so you understand where they're coming from, but then to be able to relate these issues to their own lives, you know, that's the big thing.
I've already had to battle vaccination rights or vaccination issues within because I kind of work for the government, so it's like, I've had to battle that. I've had to take up that one because a lot of my guys are good old boys, and that's just not even a, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been,
and that can be difficult. That can be very difficult.
It's been grinding, is all I can say.
Well, Spicoli, I wish we had more time to talk, but I got a lot of calls to get to. Thank you very much for calling again.
Here, Puck. For American exceptionalism, the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to win the Stanley Cup this year, and you can bet on that. You need a co-host, Dave Stick. No, I'm just kidding.
Keelah, as a Blue Jackets fan, let's talk about the Lightning sometime. I'll see you in Discord about that. We'll talk.
It's been a pleasure.
Good night, Spicoli. Thank you very much for calling.
Hey, nice talking to you guys. Bye.